All right, this is now my favorite. This is my favorite engine. This is my favorite.
Why?
It's so pretty. We got comments. We both got the same comment. We were talking about it. Apparently, Percy is wrong. There's an engine on Thomas and Friends called Duck, which is more suited in name.
It's got the square tanks instead of the different kind of tank, not a saddle tank. So
the side, whatever saddle tank thing. I don't know what these are. Side tank.
Would you like a saddle tank?
You'd have to
goes
fill
over
both
and
individually, right? Like you'd have to.
So on every steam engine I've ever heard of, that they usually have a pipe that runs under. And actually, this one I just fell in, and I can see the pipe because the collision model allowed me to fall in the boiler. There is the pipe. There's a transfer pipe right where I'm sitting, right behind the smokestack there underneath that you can look at to connect the two. So you could fill one and it would fill both.
Oh, it filled both. Okay, so that's nice. This engine, it's nice. It's a 280. You know, it's seemingly symmetrical. We're going to be running backwards most of the way to get to the location.
Right, so I don't know a heck of a lot about the Deadwood Central Railroad, which is where this engine's prototype actually came from. But it's really neat, and they definitely must have used it in kind of end-to-end push-pull type service or running around the train.
Oh, spicy fast. Oh my good.
That's,
look at it go.
That's a speedy boy.
It's so quick.
Yeah, all right, that's interesting.
We can get places, I guess. That's interesting.
We can get places, and we're ready to nail deer and get more antlers for our headlights with pilots on either end.
Much.
So,
can you flick that switch when you go back past the...
Right. Get out of
so obviously we've got the ungodly smokestack on it.
Because I mean, you might as well Congdon. Like, why are you gonna do anything else?
Yeah, and the other thing I noticed about this engine, which is kind of cool, is the well, not really cool at all, is that we have a brake compressor, but we have no brake compressor.
It's in the cab. It's right here.
Oh, no, perfect. That seems like a safe place for it.
It's an interesting choice. That's the one thing that got me on this model. I don't know where
that's the real life solution.
I assume so. I assume they did the research and figured that out. It doesn't make a lick of sense to me. I mean, the air pump is pretty violent. The amount of vibration that they have, the amount they shake, and then leaking packing and everything. Oh, we do have a 3-chime whistle though. That is. I can live with this now. Okay, I can put up with the green and the everything else if it means I get a 3-chime.
I love this engine. We've got the leaky smokestack, of course, a little bit.
But, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, the air compressor. I mean, it would be shaking you to bits having it this close to you, and it would not be a heck of a lot of fun. It would be quieter than you'd think, because the air pump exhaust on coal-burning steam engines is actually plumbed through the cylinder saddle to the smokestack. So most of the noise of the air compressor actually ends up going up and out the stack. But it would be adding a fair bit of noise still in the cab. And then, yeah, I mean, air compressor packing almost always leaks. It would be an interesting thing to have in the cab. So I'm honestly shocked that's where they put it.
We didn't even really talk about it. This is a 280. What the heck is this thing? I don't even remember what it's called now.
The Ruby Basin.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That is the name of the authentic engine from the Deadwood Central Railroad itself. Yeah.
Right. And you'll notice here too, we've also got a coaling tower set up now.
And it apparently knew that we were recording videos for YouTube because it's actually snapped back into place properly on my end now.
Well, that's good.
It was doing all sorts of strange client desync things for a minute there, but look at that. It's all in the right spot now.
But yeah, we've set up this area quite... Oh, I don't know why I'm going backwards. I need to go forwards. You need to get the coaling, the hopper cars there, if you can direct us into that lane on the hump there. We got to pull the copper or coal. I don't know, the cars. God dang, the hopper cars.
The copper holes.
The copper cars. Yeah, we should get some copper going.
Dude, that would be fun.
But anyway, we're gonna go up to the coal mine. We did a little bit of a rework of the industry there. We're gonna bring this up there, and the Ruby Basin's gonna live at the coal mine as our permanent coal mine running engine, as well as the pusher to help heavy loaded trains get out of the 3%. Right. And then our other train, the what is it? Our 280 there. The why am I drawing? Yeah. Tweetsy. I'm drawing names on blanks on all our train names.
You're drawing names on blanks.
We gotta bring it back with all our
He's got copper hars. It's fine.
Yeah,
Con's with it today, everybody.
Yeah, I'm on top of it. I've been, yeah. But anyway, we're gonna bring these up. We're gonna bring them up empty. We're gonna fill them up with coal, bring them back down full, pump some stuff. You know, normal railroad logistics.
Oh,
and
hang on. Okay, see, oh, that is pinned. Okay, it's an Invisalink. It's a whole thing. Okay, yeah, that works.
I'm assuming in real we'd have extra long links, I guess.
Right. The amount of custom links that were actually in use by railroads, there were stepped links, there were long links, all sorts of wacky stuff for any of the different heights and adjustments and whatever.
Right.
So yeah, we would have had a longer link for that. And yeah, I can only imagine how not fun that would be to try and program and code stuff. So not a huge priority in early access, but you know, hey, it works.
All right, so we're just gonna, once I clear this switch, you can push me back out onto the main there, and then we'll get going up the good old switchback, because it's probably faster to go up the switchback.
So you know what I heard from last video from my comments, Con, about thinking of the switchback? You're good to come ahead, by the way. I heard a little birdie named Con left the brake on the climax.
Oh, did I?
He left the brake on, and that's why we stopped so fast and we couldn't make it up the hill.
There's no way, because on my screen, I swear the brake lever was off, but like...
It apparently was on. Everyone was commenting on my video saying that the brake was on when we tried it. So,
maybe I was just trying to push you towards doing the switchback. I swear I pulled it down. It must have snapped like the lever back up, and I just didn't notice.
Yeah, sometimes the UI does that, and like that's one of the really.
I honestly must like. There's no way I was dumb enough to leave the brake on the whole time we were driving. Like that would
right.
That would be ridiculous.
It would explain why you didn't burn out so hard. So
it would. That would make sense. But like I could have sworn I put the brake down to 0. But anyway. This engine is wonderful. Any other history things about it?
It is a neat thing. I don't really know hardly anything about it. It is the Ruby Basin. It is a 280T, so tank engine. And it worked for the Deadwood Central Railroad, which was I noticed that the wheels are
inside all the mounting.
Yeah, so it's an outside framed locomotive, which is actually a really neat design technique for commonly used on narrow gauge engines. It wasn't super uber common, but narrow gauge ended up having it more often than anything else because it allowed you to have a much bigger locomotive in a pretty small package still. I actually recently did a whole video explaining this because I remember when I was a kid and I saw pictures of the K36s and the K37s, like the one that I now work on. And it's like, it's got these like pizza cutter, weird shaped, slicey things on the outside. Where are the wheels? Like, what?
It's interesting. I noticed, our operating window is way wider than the ties in the track compared to...
Right, so this is a much wider locomotive, and that's really what happens with outside framed engines. And when I say that they try to keep it in a small package, it's actually about center of mass. So on top of the frame, you can see the frame rails very clearly past the cranks and everything. You can see all those leaf springs. And all those leaf springs are balanced and connected driver to driver in 3 different sections, so the locomotive's actually set up like a tripod. But those leaf springs pivot and bounce up and down a significant amount. So they need a lot of clearance overhead. And if you were to have this be an inside frame locomotive, they would be hitting the boiler very, very quickly. And so you'd either have to have the boiler raised up higher, or you'd have to have a smaller one. And so for the size of boiler they had, they said, hey, we can keep it low down and make sure we have a low center of mass for this 3-foot wide track, but we can still have this big boiler that can generate a lot of steam and make sure that we can generate a lot of power with this locomotive if we kick the frame on the outside rather than on the inside of the wheels.
And then they slapped the tanks on the side just because they didn't want to have a tender, is the idea?
I guess so, yeah. I don't know precisely why they needed a tank engine in this railroad and in the service. Presumably, they couldn't turn their equipment, judging by the double-ended pilot setup and everything, so run around the train and run like we are.
Right, but it's a double-ended pilot, but it's still a 280. It's not a 282.
Right, so it still would track a little bit worse in reverse than forwards.
Why wouldn't you just make it a 282 then? Like, just, that would...
That is a question for the ages, and it also is a question for kind of the timeline, because...
fireman, I need more coal. My fire's...
hang on.
My fire's burning down.
Coal in the hole. Coal in the hole.
Coal in the hole. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. My immersion's there, man.
Yeah.
I wish I could beat you over the head with a scoop. That would be funny.
This engine seems, honestly, if we had a fireman and an engineer and a conductor in this engine, it feels like we would be very
cozy. And this is a relatively large cab compared to a lot of them. Like a lot of the little engines that I deal with are deckless engines where the boiler comes all the way to the back cab wall and the fireman has to be out on the gangway. And they still had the brakeman ride in there. And usually, like on engines that didn't have seats, a lot of the engines, they just had a plank of wood that they'd run from the window to the boiler and the brakeman would sit on that. So
what about like if you're a porter? Like there's no way they had 3 guys in a porter.
Well, so you would have up in the head end of the train, you'd have engineer, fireman, and your head end brakeman back in the day of 5-man crews. So the conductor and then
porter, like an 040 porter.
Oh, like those itty bitty engines. I thought you meant a porter like a passenger train
there,
person.
Unless like one dude's hanging off the back, you know, like it's
those are itty bitty little choo-choos. But I mean those engines were not really used in road service. Those were like industrial engines, and it's kind of silly that they're in the game as a road engine anyway. But it's a cute little engine. I mean, we love it. We love Betsy, so. I'm glad we have her, but yeah, you wouldn't be taking that thing over the road with a 5-person crew, not at all.
Dude, this thing's hauling. This thing it's
yeah,
great.
you're gonna have to be careful because we don't have any Kenosha incidents today if we can avoid it.
Yeah, the nice thing about this engine too is that since we have the bright green color, hunters won't accidentally shoot at us because they see the antlers, you know,
Is that the thing? They see the antlers
no
and assume it's a
fluorescent
buck.
Orange, right? Otherwise, we'd be in fluorescent orange.
Bring a Mayhead.
Yeah, that's the issue. You got to make sure that the hunters don't see you, right?
Right. Otherwise, you end up getting shot
season up in these mountains, and
the stack, the smoke, the chuffs, the whistle, none of that would give it away. But the antlers,
no. But once you see the antlers, they shoot, right?
The very symmetrical antlers that are wider than the stack. That's a big set. And it's a 4-point buck. Did I say that right? Do I know things about animals? Not really. 4 points? It's got 4 points.
I have no idea, to be honest.
That's a big thing around Colorado. Like, a lot of people are super outdoorsy, and they love hunting, and they talk about, oh, well, we bagged this big buck, and stuff. And, like, that's something for some people. That's not for me. I don't understand that stuff, but it's always fun to hear about the stories.
I just looked on the undercarriage.
Did you?
It is 2 blind drivers in the middle.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So it's front flange, blind, back flange. Yep. And the timing for the valves comes off the 3rd pair of drivers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's neat.
So that's something we've never really talked about. You only need your timing off 1 set of drivers.
Exactly.
Which makes sense because they're all linked. What determines which driver they pick?
Usually it ends up being the main driver, and the main driver is the driver that the main rod connects on. There's a lot of cases. Oh, I see.
So since the big rod hits the 3rd wheel, that's the one that you put the... Okay.
Because that's where all of your heaviest rotating stuff's going to be. They kind of put it in all one place, so it's like, okay, when you're doing the big heavy work, you're working on the main driver, you're ready to take care of everything that's associated with it, rather than, okay, well, we got some on this, some on that. There are definitely locomotives where they couldn't do that due to space. And the Porter and then the Montezuma, the Porter and the Montezuma in the game are like that. The Montezuma's eccentrics are actually on the number 1, and it has a backwards set of Stevenson valve gear that runs the wrong way. It still works just fine, but it actually has the links behind the eccentrics instead of ahead of them because they didn't have space because there was a firebox and everything. So it's a pretty wacky setup compared to something, but this is much more normal. This is a much more typical setup with the way that the eccentrics and everything are down off the 3rd axle there, the main axle. And you can really get a nice look at that. It's fun.
Yeah, no, I zoomed in just looking underneath with the good old 3rd-person camera clip. This thing goes spicy quick.
It really does.
It's got power for days. I'm really digging the fact that it has as much tractive effort as the Heisler.
Yeah.
Considering it's a more conventional engine.
Serious power to weight ratio, and it's got a 3 times, so it's actually going to be a great engine to have. I'm excited to actually use it. I mean, the green is, it kills me on the inside, but, it's fine.
least the nice thing with this coal update is we're going to be spending a lot more time at the coal mine. So having a proper coal industry and having a proper engine up there to help, you know, do all the yard work logistics, I think is really going to benefit us.
Right. It is going to be nice to be able to do that.
Because last time when we got those hoppers and we tried to get out of the coal mine, we couldn't even push it out, and then we needed, like, you know, 17,000 engines and blah, blah, blah. We had to bring up, like, the Class 48.
Right.
The Climax and stuff, and it's just...
It's a little ridiculous. And so now having something with a good power to weight ratio is really going to be helpful.
Yeah. And it's symmetrical, too, so we can just kind of, like, shove stuff around and...
Whichever way it's facing is not a big deal. Yeah, it's... It's nice, and I think the main reason that they did that, bring it ahead, is that if you're going to be shoving for a long time, you either need a pretty robust buffer and a sprung buffer between the engine and tender on the locomotive, but even then it's not ideal to shove through a tender, or you go tank engine, which is probably why the Deadwood Central ended up making this a tank engine.
So did they have, like, was this an industry line that I'm assuming they went up the line one way and came back the same way type deal, or?
I don't know. I wish I knew more about the railroad. It was a small narrow gauge railroad in South Dakota. I really don't have any history on it. I wish I knew more because it's a neat little locomotive. It'd be great to understand some things. So if you guys know stuff in the comments, of course, let us know. It'd be neat to hear about it. But yeah, it's a neat little engine. And
so who made this engine? Who built it?
The builder's plate says Baldwin on the side, so I mean I'd believe that. Baldwin's
so
like
someone
the Ford
commented
of
Baldwin, right?
locomotives.
They did a lot of illegal substances, and then they called up Baldwin and said, "Listen, I need an engine, okay, that's got a 280, and I need to be able to drive it in both directions. So let's double pilot it, plus narrow gauge and standard gauge combined."
Yeah,
like,
I want the triple coupler pocket on it. Yep.
Yeah. Because for some reason they're running it on standard and narrow, which I guess the South Dakota Railroad just had a standard narrow.
So dual gauge was a lot more common than you thought, actually. Because any place where a narrow gauge railroad comes in and meets with the general system of railroads is going to be dual gauge. And there are a lot of different ways to try and handle dual gauge, but one of the most common ways was, I don't care which locomotive I have, I want to be able to switch out whatever cars with it. So if you got the narrow gauge Ruby Basin, you wanted to be able to switch out the standard gauge cars when you got to the yard just in case. You may not be taking them with you, but...
What does the actual meeting point between standard and dual gauge look like? Like, if you were driving standard gauge cars and you were just pulling them, and then you got to the point where the standard gauge ends and you're onto the narrow, like your car just derails on half the thing, and that's...
yeah, you wouldn't go that far. I mean, there's signs, and I actually made them into a joking T-shirt on my channel because I think it's a funny sign for us narrow-minded folks. On the Rio Grande, they had a sign that's buried in the ground right next to the end of standard gauge, and it just says "End of standard gauge." They're a very political statement. End of standard gauge. I don't know, it's silly, but they would put that where the third rail would end, and it would just be narrow gauge, and they had the same for narrow gauge, end of narrow gauge, so that you knew. But usually they tried to not set it up in such a way that, oh yeah, I'm running down the main, and oops, there goes the third rail, so now I'm in the dirt.
Okay, so hear me out. What if you made a car that had both sets, like 3 wheels per axle, right?
Oh, goodness.
And it could just drive seamlessly from standard onto narrow, you know?
That would be a bizarre thing and would probably cause you problems in special track in one gauge or another. So, like, a switch. The normal switch is fine. Dual gauge switch gets complicated.
Switching problems.
Yeah, so dual gauge switches have extra frogs, which is the crossover point between the rails that looks like a squished frog. And they have all these extra guardrails and all these extra things to handle dual gauge. And if you don't have those things and you still have that wheel, like, you would still need the frog. You would need the gap for that wheel, and it would still hit. Like, you'd derail on any switch if you tried that. But if you set up all the switches as dual gauge switches, you could do that. But usually they came up with other solutions. When I was out in Pennsylvania at the East Broad Top, I heard about their transfer service and transfer trucks and things where they would pick up cars off of their standard gauge trucks and put them on narrow gauge trucks with a crane so that they wouldn't have to transload the whatever it was they were carrying from car to car. They would just put this giant boxcar on cute little wheels and then ship it. Like, that's how they did it. It's like, oh, well, that's wacky.
Amazing.
And other people transloaded stuff. Other people
so much
did
extra
whatever.
weight.
Like, it is. weight
moving,
and work and everything.
It's like
yeah.
you're moving a container that's heavier for no reason.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's like such a weird logistics thing, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
There's a reason why narrow gauge did not really stick around as a commonly used thing. There are still some narrow gauge railroads in service in the U.S. I believe the U.S. Gypsum Railroad that produces like drywall and stuff. That corporation is still an operational narrow gauge railroad. So they exist, but they're very niche, and they are not like, they don't have to tie into the general system. Anything that had to tie into the general system ended up falling out of favor because of how much extra work it was to make the logistics piece of it actually work out, because everybody else was the other gauge. And so why are you doing all this extra work that nobody else has to do?
Right.
All right, bring him back.
I just honestly keep flipping the Johnson bar and keeping the throttle at pretty much the same amount. I mean, there I didn't because I overshot it, but like 36% throttle and then just flip the Johnson bar.
Just flip the Johnson bar and you're playing Get Thrown Through the Front Cab Wall Simulator. Got it.
Pretty much, yeah, but you know, it works.
The funny thing with these Stevenson geared engines and with D valves or slide valves, the type of valve on the steam chest above the actual piston, it's a flat surface that it rides on, two flat surfaces instead of a piston valve, which is a more modern type where it's two circles basically, and it looks like there's two pistons because the valve is a piston. These ones usually give a lot more trouble and are a lot more grabby when you try and get the Johnson bar adjusted. An engine that's in really good shape, recently overhauled or anything like that, with the valve recently lapped, won't be too bad. But if you have power on and you try and grab the Johnson bar with the throttle open, you best have two very firm hands on it, particularly if it's a more wore out or older engine. 346, which is one of the engines that we have that runs at the museum, currently getting an overhaul. It had an old repair on its steam chest lid from the railroad, and it was a brazed repair on a piece of cast iron. And lots of oil, so braze never really penetrated properly, and it failed again on us, and it blew the lid into two pieces the one day while we were doing some test runs. Like, well, at least we were doing test runs and she broke something.
So the only way to avoid the Johnson bar problems is to like come to a complete stop before you move the bar from reverse to forward type
shut
thing?
the throttle off, or be very deliberate with it with two hands and pretending you're about to be, you know, the Hulk at the gym, basically.
Gotcha.
So what I end up doing is I will put my foot against it one way, and I will have one hand firmly on the bar, and I'll punch the actual clasp lever with it just to get one notch at a time. So my foot is putting pressure forward if I want to put it down forwards more and I'm going uphill. I've got steam working. Foot's putting pressure against it. I'm holding the bar back against my foot, but using more pressure with my foot, and then I punch the clasp to make it skip just one. Because if you try and get more than one, she'll give you way more than one, and then you spin the drivers, and then your fireman beats you to death with the coal scoop. So it's a whole thing. But anyway, 346, after she broke the lid, we had to take the lid off of the 318, which was a cousin of hers. The lid fit, same thing. And we needed the engine in service, so we did the best we could to get it together and back and running. We didn't have a chance to hone the actual top plate, and it was, okay, well, we'll wait for the overhaul to fix that kind of thing. And, man, she was pissed. She was like, you didn't take care of it. You didn't lap this in when you put this in. And you would unclamp the bar, and she would throw it wherever she pleased. I had an older volunteer in his late 70s run for the one time with 346, and he got stuck on center where he was only applying power on one side when he was trying to start, right? And he had the throttle open, got the steam chest all charged up. You can bring it back. Got the steam chest all charged up with steam pressure, and then he had to roll backwards. And so he unclasped the bar with the throttle shut before he pulled the cylinder cocks open, and she threw the bar all the way hard into reverse on him, and we shoved the train like, I don't know, 50 feet back before before it actually stopped with an emergency brake set. It was like, oh my god. I got charged, you know, everyone was riding that day, got an extra 50 foot for free, so didn't even ask for that. I said,
50 feet of terror.
Yeah, 50 feet of, oh yeah, we're suddenly going backwards. It's fine. It was a bad day, but, you know, stuff like that happens, and that was like, we really should have lapped that when we put it in, but that was kind of the nature of the game with, you know, people, politics, and management at the time. You know how that sort of thing goes. So I'm gonna put.
I'm really digging this engine. I know you're not a big fan of the ungodly green, but you know, I appreciate it.
Yeah, the green. I mean, it's not a historic paint scheme for this locomotive. Which, I mean, I'm a history guy. Like, I work at a museum. These are the sorts of details that are, like, really important and niche to me. Like, I know a lot of people love it, and it's an actual historical livery from a similar locomotive in Australia.
All right, what's your thought on the green? What's if you had one word to describe the green, what would it be?
Green? Oh, whistle. Okay, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. What? I couldn't hear you over the. I couldn't hear you when you were.
See,
what were you saying?
See, this is.
Did you want the?
Oh, your whistle steam is that? Where's that steam coming from? Oh, I guess it is coming from the whistle. It's just we're going so fast that it's drifting. That's fun. But it's neat. So it gets the thing for people across the world to enjoy something that's from theirs. So it's like, okay, that's fun. It does bother me a little bit that it's like, oh yeah, we're trying to do this historical railroad thing, and then this is like inaccurate. I would love it if they would explain why with a little blurb, like, yeah, this is a paint scheme like this, and now you're flat spotting the drivers, Con. Okay, thank you.
Deja vu.
just plays just bacon sizzling.
Yeah.
Sound. Yeah, that's.
I don't even see brakes on these drivers, to be honest. Oh no, there they are underneath.
Yeah,
okay,
they're there.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. We're good.
It's a whole thing. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it is like a cool paint scheme. It is. I mean, it's very green, and I would hate to try and clean this locomotive, but it's the fact that people.
Especially after you leave it at the coal mine, like this would just be black in a week.
Yeah, dude, the units we got in at BNSF that were the DPs, the distributed power on the back of coal trains, were filthy. They were disgusting. They looked like they were a steam locomotive. I mean, it was ridiculous. So, yeah.
All right, so now we just gotta load this bad boy up.
Right.
So we've
got 340 coal.
Yeah, we got a lot of coal, which is good. The coal industry is amazing now. I really like it. We've got 4... Oh, God, I'm stuck in the boiler. Hello. We've got 4 tracks, and they actually curve all the way around. It's cool. With the new spline tree, you can keep tracks... spline tool, not tree. But you can keep tracks symmetrical through an entire corner, which is really cool. So these are actually 4 perfectly spaced cornered shunt lanes, which is just something new. It took a while to figure out, but it's nice. And then, of course, we've... Yeah, well, you can't see it here, but there's a huge lead track in that direction.
Oh, yeah.
So we can fill this up.
Look nice.
Yeah, we can literally fill this up and then just pull it all the way back down the lead and then bring it all the way up to the front and then hook it onto the back of this thing and then drag it all the way home with the sweet seat.
You just couldn't live with me having made the track at one of the industries. I see how it is.
No, it was. I tried to just originally fix the back end where the switches was because the back was just terrible to get like a helper engine around. And I'm like, if we're gonna have a helper here, like we need to have some better logistics going on. And you had like that double switch setup, so you had to like go back and then S-bend over and then go back. It was just kind of annoying to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't set up with that in mind when I originally built it.
And then when I tried to fix it, just fix that one section, I realized that somehow you had laid track at 2 different heights. So
well, that sounds like something that I would be talented enough to achieve.
Like the whole there was a chunk of track that was just different heights from the rest of the track. So I was like, all right, whatever, we're just gonna fix all that. You can go ahead, Juan.
Right. I was looking at your track. Wait.
But yeah, I was just like, I don't understand how Heist managed to do this. You had one at a different height from the rest, so I just relayed them all because that made my life easier. And then cleaned up the engine shed and stuff. And, we needed the new water tower because the freaking whatever the heck that thing is called, the duck, has those side tanks. So we got to fill them from the sides with that side water tower. All right, that should be full. It is. Next. But yeah, it was,
I do love a not single chime whistle. I'm having fun over here, I hope you know.
So what was is there any logic behind whistle chimes? Is it just like flavor of the month? Like
railroads had different things. I mean, single notes were the easiest to make and the cheapest and whatever. So a lot of early locomotives had that. And then whistles got
good.
more and more chimes and different flavors and things, and there were different companies that made whistles, and railroads patterned their whistles after other people, and
Is
it
it
was
like
just
a
kind of
Harley
whatever
Davidson
flavor.
exhaust pipe? Like it's like, oh, you went too far. Is it like a Harley Davidson exhaust pipe? You know, where it's like you gotta have that specific manufacturer whistle, you know, to be like cool.
A little bit. I mean, everyone's got their own favorite whistle, and everyone's got their own type, but like,
All right, you good?
they're really neat, and like, there's a lot of different fun whistles that sound cool and different, and 3 chimes and 5 chimes, 6 chimes, like all those different things. I like them all, really. I don't really like the single notes as much, just because I like the music of a corded whistle that has multiple notes in it. But yeah, I mean, it's really just the flavor of what the railroad wanted, and early, actually, early in the day, it was what the engineer wanted, because the engineer was assigned to his own engine on the early parts of the railroad, and a lot of times they would have their own whistle. Like, that was that engineer's whistle, and he put it on his engine, and you knew it was his because that was it. These cars are shorter than I think, apparently. 1, 2. So yeah, the fact that this has a 3-chime sound file is wonderful. It actually still has a model of a single note, and it's a giant single note, but it's fine.
One more car to load.
Uno más car, yes.
All right, stop. Your definition of stop and my definition of stop are two different things.
I locked up the wheels, bro.
You're good.
I locked up the wheels again.
Oh, now you're going too far back.
It's just a seesaw. It's fine.
Half car forward. As long as you don't waste coal, that's the... It's now a precious resource, you know? Okay. Think we're good. Yeah, fully loaded. All right, so you can bring them all the way back.
I'm lined out of the Y right now, so I need to fix that.
Oh, you know, that's not good. Yeah, we shouldn't be lined out of the Y. So the idea is that you roll in here with your road engine, it goes onto the Y and leaves its load, and then this little helper guy would be, you know, parked past the Y, waiting to come in and grab the load and do the logistics of it. And, you know, not that it matters, because all we can hear is your freaking whistle!
I mean, you did that to me earlier. I'm having fun with it now, okay?
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to get your opinions on how amazing this green engine was and how...
I mean, the whistle's nice.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I tried to work out to make a star Y in here, you know, that ungodly star Y.
Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately, because the crossovers in this game are set at fixed angles, you can't do it in that small of a space. You need a lot. Just keep going back.
I'm not gonna leave cars in the foul of the switch, Con. Are you kidding me?
Keep going back.
You want me to go all the way back with all the cars?
Yeah, man. You bring them all around. Yeah, man. This is logistics. This is smart design.
We're not running around the cars. What are we doing?
No, we're gonna hook these onto the back of that.
Oh God, we're making one. Oh.
Yeah, we gotta bring it all back.
Oh God.
I mean, our load's gonna be at the back, which is kind of bad for the old, you know, string lining.
Not ideal, but yeah, it'll be fine.
You know, whatever. But anyway, yeah, you got tons of space. So you got a huge lead track here now.
Oh God, Connor, are you telling me that we're gonna run down the 10% with like?
I mean, we could if you want to, but then we're gonna leave that on the back if we're gonna do it. Hear that? Well, it's faster to go down the switchback because we need to go back to the hump yard with all this, right?
Is it faster? I mean, yeah, I guess you have less distance to cover, but I don't know if it's faster.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's. I mean, we can take whatever you want. I assumed we were gonna do the switchback because then we can leave that engine here, and then we don't have to worry about. You know, we could just ride down the switchback. I know the switchback is getting a lot of use lately, but
think of all the spice of trying to take this many cars down to 10%.
Yeah, but think of all the re-railing if we have to.
If we can prove to the people that we're good. Come on, we can do this.
I don't think we can. I really don't.
Vote of confidence from Con, everybody. Oh,
yeah,
confidence.
Oh God.
Somebody hit me with a lime, please. Jeez. I will take the lime. And be murdered with it.
All right. Bring that in. Attach it up to here.
Is that where the car is? Where you're standing, floating in the air?
Yeah, I'm good. Okay. Yep, right where the car is.
Yeah, because it's not. I don't see the cars yet. You're very far away.
See, this is great, and then you can back up and go park that in the engine shed. You know.
This actually makes a lot more sense now, knowing that we have a dedicated engine to live on this end of the yard and then be a
Well, I was
pusher and
trying to,
everything.
when I was working with our old layout, I was trying to move the cars over from one end to the other, like one lane to the other. And the only way to do that was to drive all the way up the main and then turn around, like, and then back down the main.
Right.
And I'm like, that seems really stupid that we have to go up and down the main all the time. When realistically, now we have another lead track way on the other end, so we can, you know, use that lead track to shuffle stuff around. Oh my god, I gotta pull these forward. They're blocking the switch.
That's fine. We'll saw by.
You know, you won't, because the auto switcher will.
Sawed right by it. It's fine.
Did you actually?
Well, I am on
The
the
auto
engine house
switcher didn't
lead.
flick the switch back? What?
Nope. Oh,
my
we're getting
God,
flat
your car's-
spots.
it's
Flat
just
spots and
drifting.
dunk. It's fine. We just next level railroaded into the switch, and now we're gonna next level railroad into the engine shed.
Oh yeah, no, this is don't ruin the immersion, Heist. Heist, don't heist the immersion. Heist. Yeah, okay. Well,
Dunk. I can't believe that I'm actually still on the rails. This thing is that thing's pretty balanced. just Heist
I thought maybe
plows through the
pilot-
back
I
wall.
thought the pilot would be sticking forward through. What's up?
Hang on, we
You
gotta
can't-
open the window. Can I fit out the window? Is that a
Yeah, I
thing?
don't think
haven't
you can
even
get out
tried
the
it.
window.
Oh,
But
hey,
yeah, I thought
friend.
maybe the pilot would be sticking through the engine shed, but it's not, unfortunately.
Bummer. Ow.
All right, well,
that hurt.
back we go.
From
to,
3 chime to
deliver.
5 chime with another 280, but this time with a tender and more power.
Yeah, now we get to, you know, go back to the... Is it just one scoop? Is it like, it's
I
one
don't know.
scoop of Raisin Bran, right?
You can put like, many scoops, all of the scoops.
Yeah, but you don't have to click 5 times, just one scoop at a time is my point.
Oh, yeah. There's something strange about that 5 chime.
This
I like
is
5 chimes,
heavy,
but that's
this is a heavy
interesting.
boy.
Yeah, I can't see the coal hoppers on the train, so I mean, I don't know what you're talking about it being heavy.
Yeah, no, it's just magically heavy for no reason.
We haven't done the math. We should. I mean, most powerful
only
road engine in the
3%,
game
right?
is 3%. It should work, right?
These are it's 16 empties or something? Or
Don't
15
leave.
empties?
Don't leave the brake on this time, and make sure you get steam pressure because your safety is no longer popping, so you don't have pressure.
Yeah, I don't have steam pressure.
It's fine. You still have
probably gonna-
100-ish at 90.
Yeah,
it's fine.
it's dropping fast. We're probably gonna burn out here.
It's fine. We'll just halt on the grade and build pressure, as is tradition.
Wouldn't... I mean, okay, I guess, like, if you didn't have steam pressure and you were looking to go, you would just go for it and then just kind of deal with it as it is, or would you...
Oh, if you run out of pressure, like, you're almost always trying to run tonnage.
No, but I mean, if
otherwise-
you're like ready to leave the station and you forgot to fire up for whatever reason and you don't have the steam pressure, you're gonna leave anyway, or you're gonna wait till your pressure builds?
I mean, it depends. Like, a lot of times you just have to go, and that's that, and then you just got to catch up, which is awful. Ask me how I know. one of my favorite memories. That's fine. You got brakes, right? Brakes are. I'm gonna start tying some brakes.
It's just dragging us back.
Just gonna tie some brakes. More brakes. More brakes.
That's interesting.
More brakes. Have we stopped yet? Almost.
Yeah, we're
More
stopped.
brakes. Okay. Build up your pressure and then we'll go.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite stupid moments was when we took the Rio Grande Southern number 20 down to the Cumbres and Toltec for a photo charter. And it was the first one we got to run. And so it was all exciting. My buddy Jeff was going to run the train. My buddy Dusty was firing. And we were super excited to get out there and do the thing on a real railroad. Because, you know, all of us had got a bunch of steam experience. Some of us had run at other places or fired at other places before. But as a group with our engine on a real railroad, it's like, oh, this is exciting. We're getting to go run it out on the main, 64-mile long railroad instead of our circle. And so we got told that, like, oh, yeah, we're going to do a quick, like, final last-minute, brief before we go. And then the conductor just gave us a highball while me and Brett are standing next to the engine, like, just waiting for the conversation between whoever. Conductor gave us the highball, and it's like, yeah, it's time to go. Like, leave. And the pilot for the crew wasn't even on the engine, so he ran over, got on the engine, they took off, and Brett and I were, like, running back to the caboose to get on the end of this 14-car-long freight train so that we didn't get left behind. But poor Dusty was like, oh yeah, well, we'll have a little briefing, and then I'll have a couple minutes to fix my fire. I just fell off the trestle, it's fine. you know, he was not ready at all. And so they took off. And I mean, he went from 100 PSI boiler pressure, 180 to like 160 in the span of a couple of seconds. And then, you know, you're running out of town. You're pulling a train. Like it's flat railroad for the first part, but you know, you're working the engine, man. So you're going fast. You're using steam. Like he's trying his hardest to catch up, and he did. Dusty's a great fireman, so he's able to deal with it. But like that is your worst nightmare as a fireman, is you're looking in there. You got 180 PSI on the gauge. You're ready to rock and roll. But your fire looks like crap because your fire's been sitting, you know, and you didn't have any draft because you're trying not to pop while you're sitting in the station. And so your fire looks like junk, and he starts working on it, and your fire looks worse, and it's like you're throwing coal in there like mad, but not too much, and trying not to slug it, make sure it's actually getting to start burning and everything, and it's like just a disaster as a fireman. So you hate having that happen. It happened to me too, getting out of town. I thought my fire was good enough, and it wasn't, and I fell behind and then had to catch up, and then we did a bunch of photo run-bys at the first trestle. It was 5 miles out of town, and everyone got treated to the safety symphony of the safety valve popping every 30 seconds because I was very ready to generate steam at that point, and then we stopped for more run-bys than they told me we were going to. So it's like,
how do you guys decide who's going to be like fireman and conductor and stuff? Do you have like do you just like, you know, rock, paper, scissors at it, or do you schedule it?
Sometimes literally at the museum, yeah. At the Coombrace and Toltec, it was a different thing. I kicked all the brakes off if you want to try and pull it now that you got steam.
Okay.
At the museum, sometimes it literally is as simple as rock, paper, scissors, because it's like, I don't know, you want to take it? I don't know, you want to take it? We're just going around in the circle or whatever.
We actually can pull this. Like, we have the momentum.
Oh, you're just like barely...
Like with sand, I'm barely moving, but it just need the moment. Like, we'd be dead centered for sure.
Oh, for sure. So we want to...
But like, I think I can just go back to a little bit of flat, and then...
Okay, we can do that too. Yeah.
I
was gonna say I could tie some brakes and fall off the bridge again, so you know.
Yeah, man, it's the tender on this thing. You can't get around the tender for some reason.
The collision model on the tender is a little challenging.
Yeah, it's beefy.
It's not fun to climb over a coal load on a locomotive anyway. So like I get that, but like, yeah, this.
Yeah, but then how do you get to the back if you need to brake cars in the old school locomotive?
You climbed over the coal pile, like that's what you do.
You did. You literally did climb over the coal pile. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's always an adventure because I mean it shifts on you. Then you have a coal avalanche. Coal avalanche, is that what you'd call it? A coal avalanche. And yeah, you try to not get sucked down the coal through the coal door. You don't want the firemen coming after you with the coal shovel. So.
The other thing I always wonder about this kind of train too. All right, there we go. That should be enough to get us
highball.
moving.
Let's go.
Oh, this is highballing. Better put the bell on for extra.
Yeah, we need that tractive effort, man.
Tractive effort. The interesting thing about this engine, which I never noticed until now, is that if you look at the drivers, right?
Right.
First of all, they're relatively small drivers considering the size of the locomotive.
Yes.
If you look at like the old standard gauge engines, they have these massive drivers that go like halfway up the boiler.
Well, we want tractive effort, Con, so small drivers.
Yeah, which makes sense. Smaller drivers, more tractive. But like the first driver is like an inch from the second driver, and then there's a huge gap between the rest.
The wheel spacing. If you look at these older 280s, the wheel spacing on them is very strange. On a lot of these early 280s. It's just like
mechanically where they had the space to fit the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about clearance between you and the cylinder, the pivoting points, enough space for the suspension, trying to distribute the weight. Like, there's all sorts of weird little things. Some of them are pretty even. Like, this one's actually relatively even between the last three, but some of them are wacky. 346, our engine, she's got pretty wacky spacing. The number 2 and the number 3, with brand new tires, are less than your thumb's width apart between the two wheels. Super, super, super close. Her tires are absolutely
like between the flanges
down,
of them, then, or are they blind?
They're blind, but I mean, yeah. So between the actual tread surfaces, because they're blind, it's kind of amazing. But you know, the rest of them have a bigger space, so it's kind of weird. But that's the way that they designed them. So a lot of Baldwin 280s like that were a little all over the place. I am getting immense pleasure from the fact that we're getting individual chuffs working hard right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised we're still moving, to be honest. I feel like we're going to stall out here. We are completely on the grade, though. But this is why we have that pusher.
Right. I might need to go get it, but...
Yeah, we might actually have to push it. That's the point of it.
You are slowly slowing down, so we might just be a smidge over tonnage. Yeah, I'm gonna go get the pusher. Let me teleport back to the coal mine.
Yeah, we're not moving anymore. We're like almost right at tonnage, to be honest.
Yeah, we got to be like right there with it, giving us that challenge. We could probably cut one car
on and keep full reg, so we're just not moving anymore. And then just push me, for a bit. Just approach slowly, because obviously you won't see the coal.
Right.
And then once we get to the switch, you can honestly probably just let that thing off, and it'll roll all the way back to the coal mine.
Like we did with the climax. It's
yeah,
fun.
Exactly. It should be fine.
God, this thing is
like it can handle spicy speeds.
Speedy boy.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it rockets, man. Just make sure you don't leave the reg on when it goes back.
Right. Yeah, that'll
and then once we push over to get to the point of the switchback, then we'll just head on down.
Yeah, this might be my favorite whistle in the game right now.
The 3-chime, yeah. See, that's why we needed a big engine at the coal mine, for this exact reason here. Because coal is heavy, and when we're leaving with the heavy coal, even this big monster road engine can't pull it. I hear you.
Alright, I'm slowing down because I'm now on the main, and I don't know when I'm going to encounter you. Let's see. Where is the train? That is the secret. I don't even see a floating con up in my future somewhere.
I'm way up around a corner. You won't see me.
Okay. So there will just appear a train, and then it'll be fine. Oh, there's a hopper. Okay. It's around this next corner here.
I can hear your whistle. You probably can't hear mine, though.
I cannot. You are unrendered, so I will not hear your whistle, even if I am on the back of this train.
All right. My brake's off.
I am one car away. And just gently now, gently dunk.
All right, yeah, I can feel you. Holy cow, dude. The tractive effort that you add to this situation is immense. Like, we're just flying now.
Big choo-choos.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This is a chunk of a tank engine, man. It is a serious locomotive. It's cool.
It kind of feels like it's the ultimate yard engine, to be honest. Like, if you had yards in this game with just a bunch of those, you could do any sort of logistical management.
Right.
Up hills, whatever you want. I still think the Shay is going to be the hump engine. I'm sorry to say it, but the Shay... And it's going to be called, like, the sad little humper or something, you know? But, like... It just feels like
somebody
we have to have a
Shay
Shay at some point. We can't not have a Shay.
We need a whole consist of many Shays.
Yeah, well, that's fine. We can have 2 Shays humping.
You know, as you do.
Humpty
and Dumpty.
Yeah, Humpty and Dumpty. There you go. Our 2 Shays, Humpty and Dumpty.
And then we need to throw them off of a cliff. Yes.
Hey, man, whatever you want to do.
All right, this feels like you're going pretty fast
now.
I'm
going
so,
spicy speed.
I'm just going to shut the reg off and walk away.
Yeah.
If I can get on.
I can slow down. I'll slow down.
Yeah, if you just a little bit. Just a little bit. Is this flat through here? It might be flat through here.
It flattens out a little bit, and then it goes down. Now I'm over the switch where it goes down, so I should be fine no matter what.
Yeah. I'm just wondering for Duck, because Duck is still chasing me.
It should eventually, like, it's still all the way up to the switch. It's sloped. It's just like
so
less
the switch is where it flattens out. So then
it's just less than 3%.
It'll roll back to the coal mine. It'll be fine. All right, I'm on the train.
Oh, you are? Perfect.
Yep. Oh god, so this is the most cars we're gonna take over the switchback now.
Yeah, but it's 300 meter leads. Should be fine.
300 meter leads. We got 8 loaded coal hoppers and then 15 empties. So we got, what is that, 23 cars?
Is it 15 empties, actually? Is that what we have?
It should be. And we have 15 stake flats. We bought 3 more, didn't we?
Yeah, I just couldn't remember if we bought 50, if we were up to 15 or not.
I'm pretty sure that's the case. So we had 12, and then we bought 3, right? But that math checks out. Let me know if you want brakes.
I mean, I'm good for now. I don't think we're gonna need it. It's only 2%, right?
Yeah, I think so. You laid the track.
Yeah, it's only 2%, so...
I'm gonna laugh if Duck doesn't stop and then just chases us down to the switchback. Like it's a horror
I feel like
movie.
it should, right? Unless
it should. It was rolling.
Somehow didn't turn the reg off.
It was rolling still. It wasn't chuffing, but it was still rolling, and it's like it had some serious like anti-friction to it. Like it just kept rolling. So it's out of my render distance, so I maybe it stopped.
Maybe there's
it's
no
not.
friction on it at all.
It's Schrodinger's locomotive. It's fine.
Oh, I guess I can finally turn off my bell. I was like, what's that noise?
What is that noise? I've had that moment actually for reals. Like I was firing on the Coombe Racing Toltec. I was firing the 484 all the way over the road. And we're on the way into Antonito, and I'd been firing all day, and it was a long day, and I was tired. And I had the automatic air ringer going on the bell, so the bell was still dinging. You can bring it back, by the way. The bell's just still dinging.
I still have probably a good 100 meters of lead.
Oh, beautiful. You can run a big
yeah,
train
I
on
could
this
probably
now.
do at least 10 more cars.
Excellente. Yeah, I was sitting there in the seat, and engineer just leans over to me and goes, "Shut your darn bell off." And I was like, oh, yeah, sorry about that. Just spaced out, like, oh yeah, I still got the ding-ding going.
So wait, an automatic air ringer, it's like a little air pump that like pulls a cord or something? to spin the bell?
So, kind of. Depends on the type of air ringer. Not in this case, but they did have weird mechanical swinging air ringers that were just a pain that didn't really work well. Because, you know, over-engineered. Let's make the bell swing still, right? Later, they figured out that they could have an air cylinder inside the bell that makes the clapper of the bell. That's actually the term for the little dingy-dangy that actually does the ding-dong when it hits the bell. Makes the clapper move and hit it. So the bell can be stationary and the clapper will just hit it, which is what most of our engines have that run these days on these different railroads around. But there's still plenty of weird swinging ringers with swinging apparatus and stuff, and we could never get the one on 346 to work. It was just always mad, so we'll just use the cord. You always got the cord at the end of the day. Doesn't really matter.
Dude, this is great. The 2% like slope portion of...
Yeah,
like, look,
have you
haven't even
touched
slowed
controls?
down. No, well, now I am. Like, as soon as I pass the switch, I go full reg 100% in the opposite direction just to, like, finalize the braking.
Right.
And then I get it going, and then once we hit the switch again, I just turn off the reg. And now we're, you know, we're
I pressed
coasting.
the button. That's fine. I'll probably make it back on the train.
Oh, did you fall off?
I did. I jumped straight off the side of the bridge. It's fine. Ooh!
Perfect.
All right, I'm back on. It's fine.
Yeah, crazy. Might be a long route with lots and lots of track, but it is wicked cool how easy it is to run these switchbacks. Now, mind you, if we didn't have the auto switching, I probably would never want to do this.
Right, yeah. Auto switching makes this a lot nicer than it really is, because you'd have to stop with each move and reline switches and be a whole thing. But the 2% tails, like, that was a great suggestion by viewers. I mean, that really makes this just seamless. I mean, you just let it roll.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're somewhere up ahead. I can see 5 of the 15 flats from back here. I'm on the tail of the last car.
You know what I say we do with this train, just for the lulz?
What?
Because we did put a coal thing at our coal fill-up station at the yard or whatever,
At
right?
the roundhouse, yeah.
Yeah, but good. I can talk well.
It's okay. It happens.
Yeah, but what I think we should do is we should just take this train and hump it with the full coal cars into the hump yard.
Humping the loads. All right.
Just
Did
leave
you
them there
derail?
for now.
Did you derail, or is this client side?
Oh no, we did. We lost a car in the middle.
There's two that are just there. just on the back of the train. And then there's just 2 cars in the dirt. What'd you do, Con?
And then they shoved the rat. Oh god.
Oh boy. What's going on up there? Are you all over everywhere up there?
Oh my god. That was
like,
how does that even happen?
The mildest Kenosha yet. Like literally.
Oh,
I
god,
literally
right? Like how do the 2 in the middle derail? We weren't even doing anything. Oh god.
I literally am just sitting there standing there watching scenery go by, and it's like,
make it
flat car?
Are they going to clear the switch? Did they clear the switch?
No, they have not cleared. I re-railed the 2 cars that derailed, and I'm letting them roll. And you appear to be clear of the switch, I think.
Yeah, I'm a clear the switch. Okay.
Yeah. Are you
So
more
can't
in
let
the
those
dirt
roll.
over
you
there?
gotta stop those. You gotta stop those because I'm gonna flick this down.
Oh.
Because we need to reassemble this train.
Oh,
well, too late now. No, never mind.
It's fine. It's fine.
We'll
Watch, see?
slap him on the back.
It's fine.
No,
Look at that.
it's just gonna...
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Dunk. Oh. Well,
yeah, no, they're gonna fix it. It doesn't matter. It's fine. We'll reassemble them here. Yeah, the rest of the train came in and bonked into the tender. We lost the tender.
Oh god. Where is the rest of the train, Con?
Down the mountain to the left.
You serious?
I don't even know how that happens. Like, I understand we have momentum with the coal cars, but remember when we did this last time? We brought all the coal cars, and we thought, 2% coal cars, does it, like, it worked with that? Could we do it with infinite number of coal cars?
Oh
this is a
God.
bunch of... Yeah, this is a bunch of lighter cars, and somehow they derailed. So, like, what does that tell you?
Oh my goodness. And there's a tender. Is the engine still on?
Yeah, the engine's still on. But everything else here is
Where's the engine?
It's way up ahead of the lead. I kept driving a little bit because I didn't want to get...
There you are. You didn't want to get
brakes
pummeled.
on.
Yeah, okay. Wow. Well, we're going to re-rail this mess, and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Help me, Con. I've fallen, and I can't get up.
I don't...
There we go.
Where are you? Where are you?
Poof. Hi. Look at this. We're at the bottom of the switchback. This
Yeah,
is the
no,
last
it was
one.
great. It definitely didn't take any time at all to re-rail all this stuff.
We should have gone down the 10% because that
I
was,
know, right?
Yeah.
No, you know what we need? We need to make just a dead man's plank at the top of the switchback. You just drive the whole train off it and then re-rail it at the bottom and keep on with your day.
That would have been
it would have been just as fast as what we did. You know, like we basically re-railed the whole train.
We ended up, so those two cars popped out that we passed by, and I had a strong giggle at that because it's just like, you're the brakeman on the train, you don't know what's going on, there's no air brakes to stop the train automatically, and you just pass derailed train cars, and it's like, is that us? That was hilarious. That sort of stuff actually happened on the railroad sometimes, but...
Yeah, and then the rest of the train that also has no brakes comes flying into the rest of the other train.
And then punted like 3 or 4 more cars, like everything went off up to the tender. The tender was off. The engine stayed on, but like most of the cars just got yeeted, and then we had to put it all. It was a mess, and you can see that like half of the flats are now behind the hoppers, and it's a whole thing.
It's good though. We're gonna hump all this, and it'll all make sense.
Yep, but we'll actually have to hump it, and sort it.
Yeah, all in one straight order. We can actually use this engine as the hump engine. We can just go straight into the hump.
Yeah, let's do it.
Then back up.
I'll have to get up there because I'm gonna have to get your switch eventually.
You can be chief humper and make sure everything gets organized and humped properly.
Oh yeah, I like it. I like being the chief humper. Makes me
and disconnected and all that nonsense.
Oh, I am stuck in a coal hopper. It's fine.
I thought you were gonna say something derailed again. I was like, oh my god, dude.
No, I got stuck.
I'm so done if this derails again.
Yep. I'm trying to platformer my way across the train, and the client desync is making it a challenge, but it's fine. We're there.
Yeah.
So there's stories on the railroad, plenty of stories.
Client desync and the guy missing his jump.
The guy getting stuck in the coal hopper. You know, that's how you
missed his jump between cars, and you know.
Yeah. No, there's stories of the rear end crew not knowing what happened and going up to the front of the train to figure out what happened. Like, there's one time.
The front's just gone.
No, dude, that actually happened once. There's a story on the Rio Grande where the train came to a stop. The brake pipe went to 0. They saw that in the gauges of the caboose. It was before the time when they had radios, so they had no way to contact the head end. So they walk up to the head end, and they go, in front of the train, tender, and then there was wheels and a cylinder saddle, and the boiler was gone. The engine crew blew up the engine. They let it run out of water, blew up the engine. They both died. And the boiler got sent like 300 yards into space.
Yeah.
And they're still on the rails with a dent. I mean, the amount of force, they actually dented the rail, but still on the rails, wheels, frame, cylinders, but the boiler, the smoke box, and cab was just gone. I don't know what you do. I'm pretty sure you utter a bunch of 4-letter words, realize that your friends have been killed, and you nothing happened.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine you just quit the railroad and you just go walk into the woods somewhere nearby and make a shack and live off the land for the rest of your life.
We're done. Okay.
Not acknowledge the railroad anymore.
So that's one of those things like, oh yeah, what happened? Well, okay, it's fine. There was another engine on the Grand that blew up, and it was an articulated. And the funny thing is, the boiler like yeeted into the stratosphere. Cab disappeared and everything. Same kind of thing where the rear driver set stayed coupled to the tender and everything through the drawbar, derailed itself from the force, but the lead engine articulated. The front engine unit just kept on putting like it was fine. Just kept going. And it went to like a half-mile down track or something. Someone's going to correct me with the actual distance in the comments, but like it was an actual thing, one of the big articulateds that blew up. And it's just like, oh yeah,
speaking of double engines, I looked up after our last video, I looked up Fairleys and double Fairleys, and there were two types of Fairleys. There was a single Fairley
and the double Fairley, yeah.
And the double Fairley had 2 boilers, 2 sets of drive gear, 2 fireboxes. It was completely doubled.
Right, except it's one singular boiler. There was no backhead. Yeah.
No, it was 2 boilers, they said.
And it's one boiler that is conjoined, 2 fireboxes, but the boilers share water.
I'm telling you, this said it was 2 separate boilers.
That's not what I got told. That's not the diagrams I've seen. Now we're gonna have to research this.
I'm gonna look it up right now while you go line switches to the double Fairley. I was looking this up and I was like, Ice didn't know Fairley. See, the double Fairley.
It's a Welsh locomotive.
That's a useful diagram.
On the Talyllyn.
Yeah, it's the Fairley locomotive built by Burma or for Burma Railways by the Vulcan Foundry. It had 2 boilers apparently.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so maybe one, like maybe the ones that I've heard of were a single boiler on the actual, I think it's on the Festiniog or the Talyllyn.
See, I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments is gonna have like a whole Fairley history, and they're gonna know
somebody knows. I'm sure they
all the details about it. But that's what I was reading, and I was like, this is a very weird looking engine. And you'd stand in the middle, and you'd shovel into 2 directions. And
yeah. So the ones on, I think it's the Talyllyn. There's 2 fire doors on the side of the boiler, and so you'd be firing from the side, from the fireman's side. Super weird. Like I can't even imagine what that's like. I would love to go out there and go see those engines in person because they're wacky. Yeah, very neat. All right, you're lined to the hump now.
That's good. You might want to start cutting cars then once I roll past you.
Right, I'm gonna line us up for the first set because we got stakes, and then we got hoppers, then we got stakes, and it looks like
we got full hoppers. So you gotta hump heavy cars, bro.
Right, we're humping the heavy stuff. All right, so we're lined in the stakes. The stakes go in the second lane.
Yeah, second lane, hoppers into
the fourth lane. Okay, yeah, we got one.
Doesn't really matter which one, I guess, but
we got 4. Yeah, they're 400s, so yeah, they should be the 4th lane. That makes sense.
All right, well, you can probably cut the pins now between the sections.
Well, I want to make sure you clear past the switch.
I'll get the one way up front. Yeah, I'll get the one way up here, no problem.
Once you get past the switch, I'll start cutting.
We'll roll past the switch. We have momentum.
What if you brake too early and then I have to redo a pin?
I'm not gonna brake. I'm gonna let it roll all the way to the very end.
Okay.
Good check to see how much hump we have, you know?
No, yeah, we don't know how long the lead is. Is it 23
I feel like we have
cars?
A bigger lead at the switchback than we actually do here.
We really might.
Yeah, I feel like if we had a train that we were bringing in from the switchback that was the full 300 meters, we'd have to probably hump it in 2 sections.
Sectional humping. That's
it's close.
It's a whole thing.
Like you're still 4 or 5 cars from the switch, right?
Yeah, 3. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the leads are way bigger. I mean, we could always take this lead and curve it around the freight depot and have it go like infinitely long. But
okay, you are lined to the hump now, sir. Take him ahead.
You mean a reverse?
Towards me. Yes, backwards. Go ahead and bring him back.
Did you break your sections?
I did. That's my favorite radio call. Go ahead and bring him back. I get that one, and I just blow a single whistle and wait for them to figure it out.
Make sure you pin the stake flat sections together once they, you know.
Oh, that'd be pretty high speed.
Break the first one, and I'll stop once the first one comes in, so you have a chance to break it and run back to the hump. And like I'll hump the first section and leave the hoppers still on the hump, you know.
Yeah, I get you. You can see, so I don't need to tell you.
Yeah,
that, right?
I can see.
Because I can't see you. You're I'm being shoved by some invisible force. Use the force, Luke. Hump the train.
The key here, though, is if I stop, the cars still move with momentum. So that's all the momentum I've given them.
Yeah, we'll see. We're about to hit the 10% with the first cut here.
Yeah, it should make it. As long as the hoppers don't accidentally keep pushing. You're good. I think that first section is going to hump here.
I'm pulling away already.
Yeah, and then the hoppers are going to stop. Perfect.
Can we insert a Roller Coaster Tycoon screaming sound effect as I go down.
Oh my god, right?
What happens when you go over a 10% grade? Just that. That'd be great.
All right, I'm just holding these on the hump. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay. I mean, feel free and kick him. I got a little break going on here. You're lined in already onto the other track, so.
Oh, the hoppers are already lined in?
Yeah, you're already lined in.
You're going to have to break them, though, like, right away.
I'll catch them. It'll be fine.
Because the first one, it's going to have momentum because they're full. First time we're actually humping cargo, you know?
It'll be fine. I'm not worried about it.
I feel like hopper cars would have a do not hump sign on them. I feel like they'd be part of the humping not allowed.
I don't think you would hump loaded hoppers just because that feels like the way to send coal everywhere. Like,
yeah. That was kind of my thought as well.
But I don't know. And I guess coal's unit train stuff, so you wouldn't even be humping unit trains. All right, I'm on the first hopper and it's going over the hump, so
I don't know if this actually is it about to
it's they're trying to drag. Like, that's the funny thing, is it's still dragging 6 loads up. Okay, now we've got enough potential energy. I think it's so slow.
Yeah, it'll pick up speed because it's still pulling stuff up, right? Like,
right.
And then once it clears it, then it's just gonna go
up.
Yeah.
It's like the last drop on oh good god. I lined the wrong
goes.
switch. It's fine. Got it.
Whatever.
Got it. It's fine.
So
it was gonna line them into the same exact lane. So. Alright, yeah, feel free and kick those. I'll get the switch again. I don't know, I swear I lined that switch. What the heck is that about? Yeah, it's like the last drop on Big Thunder Mountain on the roller coaster. Like, the engine, like, if you're in the first cars, you're like, I'm going down the drop, but why am I going slow?
You're hanging there forever. Yeah. There's a couple roller coasters I've been on that have like close to 90-degree drops, and if you're in the first car, you're like, oh no, I'm hanging for so long.
Why is it so slow? Yeah.
Yeah. Waiting for the rest of the train to clear it.
It's one of the few times I've seen your country is actually from the top of Millennium Force roller coaster at Cedar Point over in Ohio. It's tall enough that you can see Canada across the Great Lakes. which is hilarious, and I love it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Heist. The world is flat, so if I stand on one side of the Great Lake, I can just see the other side.
That's how that works. I forgot.
That's exactly how that works.
Oh, this is gonna be spicy.
I still don't know to this day how, like, correction. I probably could find out how flat earthers justify that to themselves. I don't care to know.
It's really not worth your time.
But it's like to me, the most obvious reason that the world isn't flat is just looking at, a lake or the ocean and realizing you can't see the buildings on the other side of it.
Mother Earth got curves, man.
That to me, that's just like the no-brainer of it all. But I mean, I don't know.
All right, well, these are braked, pinned, humped.
Perfect.
Got all these cars in this hump. This is a pretty happening yard, man.
This is great. What cars are we missing? We've got our log cars.
No,
they're way at the end.
Everything's here. The log cars are way at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we've got full hoppers of copper, or no, not copper. Full hoppers of coal.
we got copper cars again with Con.
Yeah,
Gone Kaming. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And we got the crap box cars. It's nice.
I love those.
What cars are we actually missing though? We're missing some oil cars.
Yeah, we don't have tank cars yet. Yeah.
You get $14.50 a piece. My God.
They expensive. Yeah, we could get the coffin ones are cheaper, but the math doesn't work out.
And heavier, so
yeah, it doesn't work out in your favor because you get 3 of them for the price of 2, and then you can hold the same amount, but then you've got 1 extra empty car worth of weight. So it's like, oh, no matter what you do, it makes a really heavy train.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. We can use this coal as we need to. We can fill up the coal once we fight. Honestly, I haven't seen the coal pile go down in our coal engines at all yet, so I don't know when that's going to happen.
We can bring the couple cars over. I am interested to see how this actually works out with this tipple, because it says that it's got 120 coal available on the chute side, but then on the dump side, it says you can only load 20.
Well, unfortunately, I think everyone's just gonna have to wait till next episode, and we can do let's do some logistics. Some railroad logistics.
Distribute the firewood. Distribute the coal.
Yeah, we'll get some logs and go fill up all our firewood depots we've got all over the railroad. We'll get some coal delivered. We'll see what happens. And make all the I don't even know, maintenance of way. Well, no, you say it would be B&B guys, right? Bridge guys.
Bridge
so.
and building, like, I mean, it depends. I mean, if the MOW, it would be like just a job on the railroad to like bring the stuff there. Like it would just be a switch job, and then it'd be B&B's responsibility to actually make it happen. But yeah.
Well, since we're all into acronyms on the railroad, we got to get make sure everyone L and S's, and
yeah, L and S, and C the B.
TU button, and
yeah, exactly.
And then we'll TTYL after we I don't know.
After we G2G, man.
Yeah, G2G, exactly. Yeah.
I once used AM Messenger. I was there, Gandalf, 3,000 years ago. All
right, well, we'll see y'all next time, and I'm gonna go to the coal mine and look at our wonderful new engine again, because it's just.
Oh yeah, favorite. Is it? We need. Where did that end up?
I don't know. I feel like it's here somewhere, right?
Probably.
I don't see it. In fact, I don't see it anywhere on the coal mine.
Well, you have the Alphys. You can see for miles.
Is it past the lead over here?
Is it all the way back there somewhere?
Dude, I literally don't see it.
Need my loco radar.
Did it make it here?
If it didn't make it, it was rolling so freely earlier. If it didn't make it, I'm gonna laugh. I'll run up track this way.
Yeah, you go that way. I'll go this way.
I mean, I can only see for approximately 4 feet, so.
I mean, it should be all the way at the end of this lead, you would think.
Yeah, like theoretically, we'd coast all the way through the yard, yeah.
This is the only disadvantage about making a big lead on this part of the track.
Is that when you kick your engine from the next switch, is that it rolls all the way to the end of the lead? It
rolls to the end of the lead.
Assuming it is there. We don't know.
But it is very convenient to have this lead on the coal mine.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's here. It's way at the end of the lead.
It's all the way at the end. Well, hey, it's ready for next time. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
Yep. See ya.